Well, while we're traveling around the city of Greeley, there's always things to pay attention to, from stop signs to yield signs to other traffic and drivers. But one of the things that we especially have to pay attention to are those traffic signals, and there's some new ones that are coming our way. And here to tell us about that is Eric Brackey, who's the traffic engineer at the city of Greeley. Eric, great to have you again.
Thank you.
Okay, so these new traffic signals, they're primarily going to be in a certain area to begin with, and then they're going to kind of move into the city. Can we tell folks where they're going to start seeing the signs? And we actually have one here behind us today.
Yes, on US 85 at 8th Street, 5th Street, and 16th Street. The Colorado Department of Transportation is rehabbing 85, and part of that had to do with rebuilding the traffic signals at those three intersections. Federal Highway Administration has come up with a new left turn signal. They've done a number of studies and found that it's safer. It's called the flashing yellow arrow. So those three are up and running now, and I'm sure people have seen them. The flashing arrow is pretty easy to understand. Right now, what you see when you come to a protected permissive left turn is you see a green arrow, then a yellow arrow, then it goes to the normal red, yellow, green balls. Right now, you'll see this four-stage head, and it'll have a green arrow, and then it'll go to flashing arrow. And that flashing arrow will indicate that you need to be careful. You can turn on the gap. It'll go then to a yellow, solid yellow, and which means obviously prepare to stop, which normal yellow means, and then the red arrow, which means to stop. So they found that it is safer. People are more cautious, I think, is why it's more safe, prevents more broadsides, which is the worst kind of accident you can have. And we're going to start seeing these in Greeley as we go through and remodel traffic signals and rebuild older traffic signals. We'll start installing these. But these three are up and running now, and you'll see them throughout. They're in Fort Collins now, they're in Boulder, they're in Longmont, and quite a few of them have gone up in Denver, so it's not something that's brand new for everybody.
Yeah, I know that was something that we talked about beforehand, that the first time I saw one was in Fort Collins, and it kind of, I stopped for a moment, and you laughed because you said, well, that's exactly what it's supposed to do, is get people to be aware.
That's right, and you're more careful and you're more cautious.
Okay, so just to give folks an idea about the lights here, now, there's a little bit of confusion, and we get this sometimes when we have the snow season about who's clearing the streets, but the same kind of happens with traffic lights in that as well, which is that this is kind of a joint effort between CDOT and the city. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. In the urbanized areas, the Colorado Department of Transportation contracts with the local governments to maintain and operate their traffic signals. So even though CDOT owns all the traffic signals on US 85, the bypass, 10th Street, 8th Avenue, the city of Greeley actually operates them and maintains those.
Okay, and then there's a certain dollar amount that they supply to the city in order to do that, and then that's kind of where this comes in.
Right. Our budget is supplemented by almost $250,000 a year from the state to operate those traffic signals. So we have those included in our traffic operations center, and we do the communications and the programming and the timing and all of that.
Now, speaking of timing, I know that the 10th Street corridor there has been a pretty popular area lately as you've been updating the timing of those for folks. Will this system tie into that as well, or is that kind of a separate thing?
It's separate, but there's a lot of old traffic signals out on 10th Street. Actually, there's a lot of old traffic signals within the city, and they do have a lifespan, and as we rebuild them, we will install this type of signal head.
Okay, cool. Was there anything else, that we want to tell folks out there about these lights, or just remind them that they need to keep an eye out for them?
They're pretty visible. I think they're going to see them, and not to freak out. And it's a normal traffic signal, and they're pretty intuitive. People understand what to do when they see them.
Okay, great. Is there a place where people can get more information, or if they forget what we talked about here today, they can read about that? It'll be on the website?
It'll be on the website, or if they just want to Google flashing yellow arrow, there's a lot of information about that. And we've done a press release also. So.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks, Eric Brackey, for being here today. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the streets.
Thank you.
All right. Well, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for those new signs, and make sure you yield for the yellow.